Hi guys, how are you doing? Happy Wednesday it is. Welcome to the Academy Answers podcast. Thanks for joining us and thanks for listening in. And we come to you as a community and as a podcast that share the idea of success, happiness, and full potential. The idea that you have within you the potential, the capacity to achieve whatever it is that is the desire of your heart, the wildest desires you have, that you really and truly have. You're not adopting them from others. The life you really would like to live, the things that resonate with you, the things that you care about, the passion that you have, that you have the potential to fulfill it, and that desires are merely indicators of your capacity and your potential. And we all have that potential. We're created. And one of the biggest mistakes that is made out here when people want to achieve something, they don't realize that they don't necessarily need someone else's lives. They need the means, they need the same level of freedom, they need that level of capacity and that level of achievement. Not especially in that person's area, but in the area that they were meant to create those results. So we have basketballers who have mansions, live the good life, homeschool their kids, have jets, have the freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do. We also have mechanics doing that. We also have hairdressers doing that. We also have barbers who live like that. We also have people who are drivers who manage to take themselves to a level where they are able to live like that. So you can use any vehicle to get to the life that you want to live. And most times it starts with trading time for money. But understand that you cannot continue to do that to get to where you want to get. And we were talking on this channel just a couple days ago about what you must do and what are the people, what happens, what's the difference. Put it this way, we were talking about what is the biggest difference between people who succeed and people who fail, people who turn out to be fall below less than they have the capacity to achieve. And I was explaining that the number one reason, and I wanted to go a little further on it because somebody asked me to expound on it and talk about goals and why people miss their goals. And I wanted to preface it with this, that just to reiterate a bit and to form the foundation for what I'm going to explain, that the number one reason why people fail, why people don't achieve what they would like to achieve, the desires of their heart, is not because of the government, not because of the boss, not because of the economy, not because of their background, not because of their skin color, not because of their education, not because of their connections or their lack thereof. The number one reason why people fail is that they never went for it. They've never gotten up and actually go for it. They've never tried to be a millionaire. They never do the math. They never work the numbers. They never made the effort. And I have this principle that I call EASS. And that's the golden principle. E is for the effort. A is for the mind, for the actions. S is for the schedule. And the other S is for the system. What effort, level of effort you're going to put in, what actions you're going to take, what schedule, and what is the system you're pouring all of that into. And you might wonder why I have system on it. Because the only way you can do it is by using a proven model. The poor people and middle class people are bought into an unproven model, the model that doesn't work. Trading time for money cannot build wealth. And before everybody like, oh, everybody won't be business people and everybody, I'm just saying, I can't determine what you can be and what you want to be and what you believe you can be. I'm just telling you that trading time for money might get you rich, but it won't get you wealthy. And rich is incredibly risky and vulnerable. What you need to understand is that if you don't go for it, you'll never get it. Because life is only willing to concede victory to the people who are determined to fight for it. Now, on the topic of goals and what, back to what I wanted to explain to my listener on the idea of, how do you reach your goals? Is it that you should change your goal, or sometimes what if your goal is too big? What if you don't have the time and the money? And goals should be, how do you set goals? How do you, know that just by setting them and doing some actions, if they're going to happen? What if you're wasting your time? All that jazz. There's a difference between those who get their goals and those who don't get their goals. And it might sound simplified, it might sound ridiculous, and it might sound cliche, but for a fact, this is what happened. And excluding the variables that, you might die, you might get sick, all that stuff. But let's assume that it's a level playing field. They call it in economics ceteris paribus, hold all things constant. There are two ways when it comes on to anyone who is approaching, who has a goal and is going to go for it. In their heads, there is your goal of what you want, and then there is your minimum acceptable standards. Here's your goal, and there is your minimum acceptable standards. The only way you're sure to get your goal is if your goal and your minimum acceptable standards are the same thing. I'll say that again. There is your goals and there is your minimum acceptable standards. The only way to get your goals is to ensure that your minimum acceptable standards rise to the level of your goals. If it is not a must for you, distractions, life, people, situation, your very own mind will snatch it from you. your old habits, your conditioning, everything that they tell you that is going to work against you is going to work against you to take it from you if it is not so much of a magnificent obsession for you. Have a good one, guys. Always a pleasure. I wanted to tell you that. So when you're setting your goals, the way to know, the way to believe, the way to understand whether or not you can do it is to decide if your minimum acceptable standards are the same as your goals. Have a great one. Always a pleasure. Thank you.